Tell you what God's given you. He's put a bullet in you. And he's abandoned you out here to me. He feels nothing for you. He couldn't give a fuck if you died tomorrow. God gave you a brother who's not waiting for you. He gave you a brother who's not even thinking about you right now. Just because you and him come out of the same woman's hole. The only thing that means anything right now is that I'm here. And he's not.
Welcome back to our humble San Diego podcast. I'm the Swan. And for this week, our local projectionist, Mr. Chris Pawlak, joins us once again for his end of the month takeover. What's up, dude?
What's going on?
Welcome back. Thank you.
As always, thank you for having me.
So, without further ado, here's episode 255, Seek and Destroy, where we will be discussing David Machad's 2014 film, The Rover. But first, let's get everybody warmed up with some of our usual intro segments.
And now for a special news report. Brought to you by Drop the Mic.
Do you have anything for us?
I did. Something I just read earlier before coming down to do the show with you. I read that Showtime just canceled Black Monday, which is a show that I loved. It was all about like Wall Street, and the show got its first season was all about the lead up to the crash in 1987.
Mm-hmm.
And just a real funny show with a fucking stacked cast. Don Cheadle, who was great, who I think should do more comedies because he was so fucking funny. The great Regina Hall. Who else? Paul Scheer, Andrew Reynolds, Casey Wilson. It was just a really funny show all about Wall Street. It was super debaucherous, lots of coke, and a really funny show that just ended its third season sometime last spring, I believe. And I read that they canceled it, so I'm kind of bummed about that because I really enjoyed the show a lot. But that's the only piece of news I really have. But I will shout some people and stuff out after your news.
I wonder if we have the same people or not. So I'll save those. So The Batman is officially rated PG-13 and will have a runtime of 2 hours and 55 minutes.
That's an intense runtime. Like you and I mentioned last week when we were talking, I think it seems like it might be a little overstuffed. So I'm hoping that it doesn't feel like 3 hours. But sometimes it kind of feels like we need to cram everything into this one movie instead of saying, oh, we'll do a planned trilogy or something. So we'll set up this to be the villain in this movie and this to be the villain in this movie. And I'm hoping that the film doesn't overload on too much stuff going on.
True, but you are excited.
I am excited. It does look great, and I'm stoked on Matt Reeves being the director. It's got a really good cast. I'm really excited for it.
Do you think it's going to be a good competitor for Spider-Man?
Yeah.
As far as numbers wise?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to do Spider-Man numbers like as much as Spider-Man did, because that made 500, 600 mil US during the holidays. Also, it probably didn't have a whole lot of strong competition, although I don't think the Batman's going to have a lot of strong competitions coming out in the late winter, early spring.
But you have to think about if the rated R Joker can clear $1 billion. I would be real surprised if the Batman doesn't.
It's a comic book movie. It will do well. There's no doubt about that. I just don't know if it'll do what Spider-Man made recently.
Mm-hmm. We shall see, I guess.
Yeah.
It does have the PG-13 rating, so more people kids will be able to see it. So it's got that going for it. Moving on into some I don't know if this is good or bad, but a sequel to Warner Brothers' newest Mortal Kombat film is officially underway, with Jeremy Slater signed on to pen the script.
What do you think? Because you saw it.
I wasn't a fan of the first one, however, it was an improvement on the first two films from the 90s.
I don't think that's hard to improve on.
Yeah, right. But I think the screenwriter they got this time, it worked on the Exorcist show.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with some better writing, they could salvage something and hopefully have a better product, so...
You're cautious?
Yeah.
Cautiously optimistic?
Yeah, I'll still be going into it with a low bar and just hope that they just listen to the fans and fix their mistakes,
mm-hmm.
In some other news that's kind of like, Jason Momoa is in talks to be the new villain for the next Fast and the Furious sequel.
Yo, Momoa, you killed it, bro!
What do you think about that?
I don't give a fuck about the Fast and the Furious movies.
I haven't seen the last one either. Which I think Charlize Theron comes back.
I think so. I might have seen like one or two. I've definitely seen Tokyo Drift given my time as a projectionist. That might have been the only one I've seen all the way through. The worst one, right? Is that the consensus? Or is that Too Fast, Too Furious? Which I will watch when I get around to listening to the John Singleton miniseries on Blank Check. So I will be watching Too Fast, Too Furious. Against my will, probably.
If it were up to me, I think Too Fast, Too Furious is probably the worst. But I don't think I've seen Tokyo Drift all the way through because I just didn't give a shit,
It's not good.
Yeah.
But at least I got paid to watch it.
True. I don't know, Jason Momoa. Cashing in on the money there. Moving on, the newest Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel just dropped a new poster this week, giving us a look at the old man Leatherface. I think for the first time, really, at least from a frontal view. The film is set to drop directly on Netflix February 18th with Fede Alvarez producing, and it will be directed by David Blue Garcia. Any thoughts on this?
No, I didn't know that they were doing that.
No, you didn't? You had no idea?
I don't think so. It doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, I guess it will be...
I thought, don't they have like a show? Like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre show that's supposed to be coming out?
Unless I just haven't heard about that, I don't think so.
Okay.
Or maybe it was supposed to be a show at first, and then
Okay.
they switched it. But this is a movie. It's supposed to be a direct sequel to Tobe Hooper's original classic.
So they're doing like the Halloween thing with it?
Pretty much, yeah. I think Tobe Hooper just had a birthday this week, so happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And hopefully this new film is good. I think my bar will be set pretty low because of the last few films not being super great. So hopefully they can, conjure up some cool magic for it and bring back what we loved about the original. Especially because Leatherface is like fucking probably pretty old.
Yeah.
If they're doing it, in continuity.
Is this supposed to be a modern day?
Yes.
Or
yes.
is it period?
No, it's like he's aged and been in hiding, and these kids kind of stumble upon wherever he's hiding out in and like awaken the fucking monster kind of thing.
So the original's what, 74?
Mm-hmm.
How old would you peg Leatherface to be in the 74 version?
Maybe 20? I don't know. Early 20s? And what do you think? So what would he be in his maybe?
He'd have to be like
Mid
70s, maybe early 70s. Late 60s, early 70s.
So it really is doing like the whole Michael Myers thing.
Yeah. I was born in 79. I'm 42 years old. So yeah, that's about 47 years.
Well, how old do you think Gunnar Hansen really was? Like, when they made that?
Probably in his 30s. Maybe late 20s, early 30s.
Do you think that that's what they meant for him to be like? Because you can't really peg him as Leatherface like his age, because...
No, that's true, but that's... I mean, he's obviously not a child.
Yeah.
And even if he's a teenager, in the original, continuity-wise, he would be mid to late 60s. He doesn't look like a teenager just because he's a big guy.
Mm-hmm.
But at best, he would be mid to late 60s.
That seems what they're like trying to push, is that he's old and just been inactive or dormant this whole time, and then something happens. Nobody knows what it is, but he comes back for some reason to raise hell. Hopefully it's good. I don't know. Also, Halloween Ends, they just started principal photography.
Oh, so it's not shot.
Nope.
But it's still coming out for October this year, right?
I think if they've already started now, then they'll have plenty of time to get it together for that.
Yeah, I don't think that's a terribly long shoot. That's probably 6 weeks. 6 to 7 weeks, maybe 2 months tops.
Let's jump to you with your celebrity shout-outs.
Well, I don't know if you shouted them out, but we lost some people this month, unfortunately. I don't know the order of things, but I know that I wanted to shout out Peter Bogdanovich, who passed away, who was a film director, but also was a critic before that, and then hasn't really directed a whole lot in the last maybe 20 years or so, but was really a big proponent of film history and film preservation. So RIP to him. Definitely watch The Last Picture Show, which is his first film, and Paper Moon, which I believe is his second. Those are both great. Kind of drops off after that, but those two for sure. Check out. Want to shout out Sidney Poitier, who passed away about the same time. Great actor. Watch In the Heat of the Night. It's great. Watch The Defiant Ones. That's a great movie too. With him and Tony Curtis, where they're escaped convicts who are chained together. They obviously hate each other, but it's kind of a proto-buddy film, because they kind of learn to work together and to love and respect each other during their ordeal. And like I said, In the Heat of the Night, which is a great movie, where he's a Philadelphia police officer down south trying to solve a murder. But two great movies, and he had a bunch of them. One of them is going to be in one of my recs, but I will keep that under wraps until we get to the recs.
Real quick, I think I've told you this story before, but my grandparents actually met Sidney before because they were extras on Lil Nikita.
Really?
Yes.
Lil Nikita's a good movie too.
River Phoenix?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's awesome. Did they say he was a good dude?
Yeah.
Nice guy?
Yeah, they were big fans of him.
Who else? Well, Meatloaf.
Yes. I was wondering if you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Louis Anderson.
Louis Anderson. It's about the same time. Bummer, yeah. 2021 hasn't been or 2022 hasn't been a great, not a great start to the year, losing some people.
Yeah, really kind of back to back.
Yeah. But Sidney was at least 94, so he had a nice, good life.
A great run, yeah.
Yeah.
Even Meatloaf was 74, I believe.
Louis was younger, unfortunately, and I don't know what Bogdanovich's age was, but I'm pretty sure he was in his 70s. Man, his name was Robert Paulson.
That's right. What's his famous record? Bat Out of Hell?
Bat Out of Hell, or Bat Out of Hell 2, which is what was really big when I was in junior high. That's the I Would Do Anything for Love record. Those kind of like big bombastic,
like almost theater,
melodramatic tunes. Yeah, very theatrical.